I would just, I would appreciate understanding what would be, because my understanding is chlorine handles the bacteria and keeps our water safer. But what I'd like to understand is what would be the difficulty that would be imposed on the water department if the sequest were taken out of it. Does that mean just the pipes or the service system is going to be impacted and eventually eroded more? Is that the main concern?
No, it's not. To change products, we have to go through a process. And I'd like to come back to that, if that's okay.
Okay.
If we could stick to sequest specific,
well,
and then I'll come back.
That's really my question.
Okay.
If we took sequest out of our water.
Can you hold that question?
Yes.
Okay.
Certainly.
Did somebody else have a question?
No, I just had a comment.
Mm-hmm.
The comment is about the taste of the water. Someone said they live on Peaceful Way and the water tastes terrible. And we live on North Carefree and in a home that was built in, I think, 2006. And I drink straight out of the tap as well as sometimes through a Brita filter. But I'm actually now switching to more just straight out of the tap water, not wanting to continually buy Brita filters, which have their problems. But so I don't know why Peaceful Way the water would taste bad. Our water tastes wonderful. I mean, I don't taste any chlorine. I'm very sensitive to water.
Ours, you can
a lot
smell
of different
the chlorine
aspects of it.
coming off of it when it's coming out of the
chlorine.
tap.
Well,
Yeah,
let's do this. I have to let my the professionals go here. So if there's a question specifically for them, can we hurry? Can we put those, please?
I think this is related to your
Okay.
I just want to look at this from a nutritionist point of view because that's my background. Generally, in the human body, you need a balance of various kinds of minerals. And some minerals tend to be more acidic and some minerals tend to be more alkaline.
Okay.
Phosphates tend to be more acidic. I'm just wondering, over the long haul, say 25 years of drinking the water that might contain this particular phosphorus additive, would that tend to bind with other chemicals in your body and draw them out, as, for instance, soda does?
Okay.
Can you help me with that?
Well, let's see. So this is for the NSF guys with regard to long-term use of drinking the water over several years. Do you see any long-term issues with this creating issues with an imbalance of minerals and nutritional elements in your body? Did I state?
Not at this dose rate. Again, with any type of chemical, the dose rate is what's going to cause the impact. And there are issues where calcium elimination can occur at higher levels of phosphate, and that's one of the things that becomes a concern when you start exceeding something around 4 grams a day or 70 milligrams a kilogram body weight. But at these dose rates, it's not a concern. And they've done studies to where they've done up to 2 grams, 2 grams a day, and shown no for extended periods of time, and shown no issues with additional calcium loss in the human body. But it can be a problem with if you do take, if you're going well over 4 grams a day of phosphorus. And so, she is right in that sense. It can cause calcium issues or cause calcification in kidneys. But again, the dose rate we're looking at here is less than 0.5 milligrams, and so at that particular dose rate, you're not going to see those types of issues regarding calcium loss.
If that were combined with other sources of phosphorus, for instance, if your child drinks a soda a day.
Oh, what if you're drinking the water and drinking a soda or what? Other sources of phosphate? Would this change the effects and somehow influence those other sources of phosphate? Could it combine in some way to be, to have a compounding effect?
No, it'd just be a small addition to what your currently daily intake would be. And if you're drinking a soda, again, I think I saw that Coke was roughly 45 milligrams of phosphate per 250 milliliters. So it'd just be a tiny little additional onto how much phosphate. I mean, I believe people typically ingest around 1,000 milligrams of phosphate daily. And again, the RDI, the recommended daily allowance of phosphate is 700 milligrams a day. That's through the National Institute of Medicine. And they even recommend higher levels of phosphate for adolescents as they develop. They recommend phosphate levels of 1,250 milligrams a day for adolescents to assist in development. So again, we're looking at a very small dose here. And as far as you combine with other sources of phosphate and phosphorus in your diet, it's just going to be a fraction of a little bit more than what you'd be getting in your diet. Or, I mean, if you just adding a little bit amount to your total diet.
Okay. Did you have a question?
A comment for them and then...
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I just have a comment that in our community, I've heard that there are individuals and homes that feel like that there's a connection between this additive to the water and specific health problems or plant or animal health problems. So it's not a hair-splitting thing about wanting to be one way or the other. There's real concerns here. And I'm personally not affected. I mean, I don't have any problem with it. But evidently other people do, and I think it's important that this be documented between these companies and our community, that something is being brought up. It's this anecdotal evidence that needs to be heard, because frequently that's the beginning of finding out where there is a problem.
I totally agree.
Yeah, and so anecdotal evidence is important to hear and take seriously, not as just some trivial hair-splitting thing.
I don't think that's the point.
The math is, I'm talking of a soda pop, like I said, there's 8 zeros behind the
I don't want to
micron.
talk about this. I just want to make a comment to these people so you can let them go.
And your comment is fair.
That's all.
Thank you. And I agree that, while the word anecdotal sounds dismissive, and I apologize, it's not intended to. The fact of the matter is, when we get to water quality issues, the point is that what we must rely on is the best data we have. So the question is, how do we gather that data? When you have, reportable incidents, or whatever, what you would consider reportable, a health effect or whatever, I promise you the district wants to hear about that. But then the next step is, how do you quantify that and boil that down, and how do you extract from that true, measurable data? And that's the difficulty. It really is a challenge. And I promise you that's what we want,